Hey guys, welcome back to Everyday Art by Brittany Gunter. So today we're doing two challenges in one. We're doing the YT100 challenge, 100 videos in 100 days by Johnny Farrow. And we're also doing the Pouring in Harmony weekly challenge for our group. This week's challenge is the Spiral Dip by Fiona, which is a flower dip, is another word for it. So I don't have the squirt bottles like she has to put all my colors in. So I'm just going to, in order to get the fine line, I'm just going to use a syringe. And everybody knows that I breed and take care of dogs. So I always have plenty of syringes. So these are the 10 milliliter syringes that don't have the rubber on the plunger. The rubber won't make a difference in the paint, but it definitely makes a difference with the dogs, so I don't use those. So I have our colors pre-mixed up. I have Art Minds DIY Home Brushed Metallics in Aquamarine. It was almost empty, so I mixed it up in the bottle. Then we have our Craft Smart right here. It is the multi-surface metallic copper. Then we have our Waverly Inspirations chalk in maize. It's a matte color. And then we have our red, which is also a Waverly Inspirations in crimson. And then of course I have my white for the back. And it is Artist Loft Flow acrylic white. So I've taken painter's tape and marked off the four corners a little bit wider than my 12 by 12 canvas because I need to cover that area to dip in. And we're going to fill up our syringes real quick and then we'll move them and put our white out. So there's not as much blue as there is the other colors, but I should have enough to fill up a syringe, and I do. I'm also going to grab a wet one. I want to clean off my syringes so we don't have drips, because I don't want drips just in random spots. I want to try to control where the color goes. So there's my aquamarine. There's a little bit left in it, so I can use that for another pour since it's already pre-mixed. Here is my antique copper metallics, and I wanted to use a couple metallics because Fiona made a comment on one of her past videos, the blue flower dip that she did, and she said that the reason she got such pretty petals that actually look like flowers, she believes, is because she uses at least one metallic in every pour. And she doesn't think you'll get the same results without metallics. So I'm actually using two metallics in my pours. This is actually my first time doing this, so I watched plenty of her videos to try to make sure that I do this correctly. Okay. Okay, so there are our syringes. I'm setting my extra paint to the side. And then I'm going to move my syringes back a little bit because I need to put white in my marked area. Normally I would have already put all of this down and filled the syringes and everything. But I have some people who have wanted to see stuff from start to finish. And so I'm trying to accommodate those people, but not keep it too long. So instead of mixing the paints in front of you, I mix the paints and then we'll do the rest of this. So I'm just going to kind of move the paint to where it covers most of this area. And I have a puppy pad down, but on top of that I have the wax paper or parchment paper with the waxy side up. That way, if this does turn out really, really nice like hers, I can let it dry on it and I can use it as a skin. Whereas if I had just left the puppy pad, I would not have been able to use it as a skin. I'm going to try to cover all these areas with white. I may not have made quite enough white. But I did also make my area larger than it needed to be, so I think I'll be okay. Just going to tap some of these areas and fill them in with some of the paint dripping off of my board. It doesn't want to stick to the paper, of course, because, you know, that's its job. Okay, so I'm going to wipe this excess paint off with a stick and let it just fall in some of these areas. Set my stick down. I'm going to clean this off real quick. I don't need paint all over my station. I just cleaned my table. And then I'm going to see if I have just a little bit more white paint in here. I know, guys, it's taking just a minute, but at least you know it's not as easy as people make it look. Okay, so we've got my paint down. Now we're going to make our spirals. And I think I'm going to start with the red. Okay. And then I'm going to add the blue. That way maybe I mix in some metallics. Ooh. So it's not as easy to control these as you would think. They want to slide a little faster than you want them to at times, and then they don't want to slide. Or at least this one is. The red one was easier to control. So I got more blue in some places than I intended, but we'll just see how it works. Then we're going to add some yellow. Try not to go crazy like I did with the blue. Everybody knows I love blue. Maybe it just accidentally happened on purpose. Okay. The yellow's sinking. It must be a heavier body paint, where the blue's rising to the top. And yes, I know these are some weird combination colors to just throw together. Okay. I'm just going over and adding a little more red. There was plenty at the beginning, but it seems to have sunk. Okay. I'm going to set those down because I can always use those again. Here's our canvas. There is nothing on it. And so the goal is to set the canvas down carefully and then just lightly rub without like moving the whole canvas. And go to the corners. Okay, so normally when I pull up a dip, I pull it toward me or backwards. But the key for this one, from her videos, is to pull it up evenly, and the center needs to be the last thing that leaves the table. I don't know if it's going to work like that, but we're going to hope for the best, and I'm going to kind of pull up evenly everywhere, but my wax paper is pulling up with me, even though it's taped down, so that's probably going to mess my pour up. And we flip. Okay. Okay, that could be a flower. There's some blank spots. There's what's below it. So yeah, that could be a flower, but there's some blank spots on the canvas, which is kind of upsetting. There's several blank spots on the canvas. So I'm wondering if I can do it. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys this. This is what it looks like right now. I am going to attempt to redo it, and I probably shouldn't, but there are multiple blank spots on the camera, like a lot. I had about 4 or 5 blank spots. Okay, now we're going to try this again. Boom. Okay. Only 1 blank spot. It's not as pretty as the first time, but it's still nice. And the blank spot that I have is the spot that's right here. And I evidently just didn't have enough white. It's right up here. So I'm literally just going to add a little bit of paint. And I'm just going to pull up on my hand like that to blend it so it looks like it's part of the dip. And that's it. So, I am wanting to torch though. Because I know there's metallics in here, and if it does pop up, it pops up. So that'll be kind of cool. So that's my Fiona spiral dip. My first one. Maybe it'll turn out even better next time. I think it was prettier the first dip that I did, but it wasn't fully covered. And I do like the skin. I see a few spots that I will actually most definitely use for jewelry. So I wish I maybe would have taped it down a little bit better so that it wouldn't have risen with the piece, but it did pretty good. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and definitely check out all the other videos from the girls in Pouring with Harmony.